Hello! Today I'm going to do a review of how many books was it? It was 12 books. 12? God, Grant, you're so diligent when it comes to reading. Yes, thank you, I know. Today I'm going to be reviewing the 12 books I had on my 2025 TBR in order from least good to most good. Starting with number 12, last one on the list. Here I am in beautiful Japan, wearing my wife's relaxing coat. You like it? I like it. She's gonna absolutely jump through the ceiling when she discovers that I wore it for this video. The Tale of Genji. And people, when I showed them the one that I was reading, you're reading quite expurgated? Is that the right word? You're reading a very short version of the Tale of Genji. I mean, the Tale of Genji is over 1,000 pages long, and yours looks to be about 250. Yes, it was about 250, and every single one of them was a tedium. I would never have finished it if it were 1,000 pages long. It was so boring. I know. It's one of those classic, way back before the dawn of time books like the Odyssey and the Iliad. But the thing about the Odyssey is that that's quite a fun book to read. The Cyclops, the Lotus Eaters, the Sirens on the rocks. Origin of the phrase between a rock and a hard place when they have to sail between the two monsters. The Odyssey is a great book. The Tale of Genji is awfully boring. God damn. I really struggled to get through that. And I'm a huge fan of Japanese literature. It was just so old and tedious. Didn't like it. Number 11, Remembering Babylon. Yeah, that was great up to a point. This kid appears in a small, just hamlet, a little growing tiny community of families. This kid appears. He's covered in mud, and they quickly discover that even though he's a white person, that he's been living with the Australian Aborigines for, I think, 6 years, because he was shipwrecked and these Aborigines found him. And then the story is quite good, because even though he's a white person, this one family who finds him adopts him into their home. Not quite into their home. They build him like a little shed beside their home, almost like a little pigsty, and he lives in there because they're afraid of him. He's been living out in the wild for 6 years, so they don't trust him. The rest of the community really doesn't trust him. They keep telling the family, you have to send that boy away, but we can't. He doesn't belong with them. He belongs with us. And the people in the community are saying, no, he's one of them now. And if you keep him here, those Aborigines people, they're going to be coming here to find him. And it actually happens that some of the members of the wandering tribe that he was a part of do come to talk to him, which arouses so much suspicion and fear and prejudice that they frightened and bigoted community members feel like they need to drive this boy out of the community or kill him. They have to do something. That was a great book. And then in the final chapter, just when everything's really coming to a head, it suddenly jumps ahead to 20 years. The two children from the novel, they have a meeting. I think the little girl has become a nun and the boy has become a soldier, he's become a politician actually. And they have a meeting. This politician goes to visit his sister in the nunnery, and there's no mention of the half-white, half-Aborigine child. There's no mention of the great catastrophe that looked to be growing on the horizon. He just ditches that entire story for this lame-ass 20 years later, now that we're all grown up, and nothing is explained, and there's no climax to the novel. He stops the book just before the climax. And I'll tell you, if you've ever been stopped just before you hit the climax, you'll understand and appreciate how upsetting that is. You know what I mean? So, yeah, fuck that book, man. You can't just drop the story like that, guy. What's your name? Malouf? With your French name? You weirdo Australian? No. It's not good. Remembering Babylon. I really keep trying with Australia. Australia, where are your writers? I've read Oscar and Lucinda, okay? And I just thought it was okay. Like, it was not like the entire nation of Australia can hold it up and say, there. It's not like in Canada, we've got our Canadian literature. Australians, where's your literature? Stop playing your cricket and your rugby. Write some books down there. All right, book number 10, The Book of Eve. That's a Canadian one. Whoops. Nobody, especially even in Canada, has ever heard of this novel called The Book of Eve by Constance Beresford Howe. It's just one of those books that got published. Immediately everybody forgot about it. It's not very good. It's interesting, but generally in literature, I like it when you read a book and the entire time you're reading the book, it's like, God damn, I've never read a book like this ever before. Appointment in Samara. It's like, wow, God, this is some crazy kind of a book I'm reading right here. What's another one? The Sheltering Sky by Paul Bowles. Holy God. The entire time you read that book, it's like, this is unlike anything I've ever read before. And The Book of Eve, there's a woman, she feels that she's been abused, even though there doesn't seem to be any evidence except taking her word for it that there's been abuse. Probably there has, but there is room for doubt. She leaves her husband, even though that's quite a difficult thing to do because he's kind of old and a bit crippled and he's not going to make it very well. And she leaves her affluent Montreal suburb to go to live in some rundown poverty street in a rooming house where she gets the basement apartment, and she meets one of those wacky Europeans who lives in the rooming house, a Hungarian, and he falls in love with her and he wants to sleep with her. But with his wily East European ways, he gets her into bed, and she's a lady. She doesn't do those kinds of things, but since she's left her husband, she finds that the loosening of morals really quite agrees with her. And it's like that. The good part about The Book of Eve is the relationship she has with her son, because her son is a grown man. He is married and he has his own family, and she doesn't want to abandon her son. She just wants to abandon her husband. So she has some phone calls with her son, and I enjoyed that. That I thought was a good part of the story because it's not like a high school student breaking up with your boyfriend and the world doesn't pause. This is leaving your husband of, 30, 40 years, the effects that it has on the rest of the family. That was, I like that part of the story. The wild Hungarian with his wine and his whiskey, and he's gonna cook up some stuff. It's a cliche, like let's have a wild European in there because, they're so lusty in the blood. Even in Canada, nobody gives a shit about this book. We have our great Canadian literature, and we have our sort of secondary, pretty good Canadian literature. But then this is in the third category of, it's one of those books that got published, and because we're in Canada, it's hanging around in all the thrift stores and junk shops and secondhand stores. Well, I buy them and sometimes I read them, and that's it. Out of a list of 12, that comes in at number 10. All right, number 9. Oh, Two Women by Albert Moravia. That's not very good because I love Albert Moravia. Alberto. That's not very good. Well, I don't know how successfully Alberto wrote a first-person novel from a female point of view. I've only read the book one time. I would need to read it a second time to really look at it a little bit more carefully, but I didn't always quite believe a female character would do these things, even if she were a hot-blooded Italian, as the main character of Two Women is. Her daughter goes through a change towards the end of the book, sort of the climax of the book, and her character changes drastically. I didn't believe that a character could suddenly undergo such a significant shift in their personality. Like if someone went to prison for 5 years and they came out and their personality was substantially different from the person that who went into prison. Yeah, you would see that, but not like that in this book. So although I'm a big fan of Moravia, Two Women just didn't do it for me. I feel bad saying it because I'm such a fan. Oh well, there are other books by Moravia to read, a lot more. So I just wouldn't recommend Two Women. Like if you're a huge fan of Moravia and you read the big books, maybe keep Two Women for later. It's like John Steinbeck. You read The Grapes of Wrath. Oh, amazing. You read Tortilla Flat. And what's the other funny one like Tortilla Flat? There's Tortilla Flat and then there's Cannery Row. Great. And The Pearl, you could read The Pearl in one sitting. Oh, and of course there's East of Eden, even though I'm not really a fan of East of Eden. And you read all those great Steinbeck books, and then you've got something like The Winter of Our Discontent, and that's not very good. And you hope that it's good because it's Steinbeck and you want it to be good, but you can't ignore the fact that it's not very good. And I'm not saying that Two Women is not good, it's just that it's not as good as the other Moravia that I love so much. Number 8 out of 12, A Walk on the Wild Side by Nelson Algren. What a great name. Nelson, you don't get too many Nelsons, and Algren. Ugh. It's not bad, it's just that there are 7 better books than A Walk on the Wild Side. I really enjoyed A Walk on the Wild Side, and I made a video of it. Here it is. Please watch that video because I read it way back in the early part of 2025, and I liked it because stylistically, goddamn, Nelson Algren put his heart and his soul into writing that book, because it's written in this argot, which is unlike anything else you've ever read. It's so idiosyncratic, this voice that he has. And Nelson Algren was really underappreciated, and he knew it. He knew that he was underappreciated. He felt it, that he wrote 2 great American novels, A Walk on the Wild Side and The Man with the Golden Arm. And even though one of them was made into a film with Frank Sinatra, like, he just didn't seem to get the appreciation that other writers got. Oh, I read an article about it. It said that because he was writing this kind of noir novel in the beatnik age, people disregarded him. They were like, we don't want that noir stuff anymore. We want this new drugs hitchhiking stuff. So he just kind of got lost in the shuffle because the kind of stuff he was writing at the time wasn't appreciated. And I might even say that he's never been appreciated for being the great writer that he really is. Walk on the Wild Side, I recommend it. Number 7, The Human Comedy by Honoré de Balzac. It's a collection of short stories. It's wonderful, especially the story Gobsec. Gobsec, that short story, absolutely blew me away. I loved it. The short story Sarracine is also a wonderful one. There are great stories in it. It's just that Balzac's style tended to this extremely lofty, extremely bombastic style of writing, almost painfully colorful. The description is always to the nth degree. It's always big blasts of color and description every time. In a novel, he tends to do it about the room, or about the dress, about the wedding. And there will be that big, almost catastrophic description of everything. The men, the mustaches, the cocktails, the drunken waiter, orphans asking for pennies by the door of the restaurant. Everything is really boom. And in a novel, that's fine. But in a book of short stories, there was too much of that, because in every short story there were those big lofty descriptions that went on and on. And in a novel, it's fine because you get them every now and again. But in a short story, in a collection of short stories, it's just boom, there's the description of the ball. Bang, here's the description of the wedding ceremony. And it was just a bit too much. Like, I love the short stories independently. Gobsec, Sarracine, A Passion in the Desert's a really weird one. Where are we? 6, halfway. The Dead School by Patrick McCabe. Oh man, I love that novel. Even the video I made just was completely ignored. People they didn't watch the video, and I don't think anybody reads the books, and it's really a shame because Patrick McCabe is a very, very funny Irish writer. He's brilliant. Stylistically, the story, the characters. The Dead School is a fantastic novel. Okay, the ending is weak, but oh well, what can you do? I made a review of it. Please watch The Dead School because it's a great book. Why does nobody care about this book by Patrick McCabe? I think because his big book is called The Butcher Boy, which I should reread at some point because I loved it. Very dark, but so's the Dead School. The Dead School is also very dark. The black humor. Didn't he also write something that got turned into a weird film with Cillian Murphy? Oh well. Guys, Patrick McCabe, The Dead School, or The Butcher Boy, pick him up. God damn, why didn't anybody watch that video? Come on, Grant. Where are we? Number 5. Okay, now we're getting to the top of the list. L'Assommoir by Émile Zola. Why didn't the Zola get higher on the list? Well, because it's just a very bleak, black, sad story about alcoholism and kind of a pimp who just uses women. Like, he just sucks all the money out of these women and abandons them. It's really horrible. And yeah, this couple, about how they're poor, they love each other, and they promise that they're going to try hard, of a temperate nature. Neither of them drink when they meet each other, when they're courting. And somehow they begin to make money. And as soon as they start to make money and they feel that their life is getting onto easy street, they begin to drink some. Then they drink a little more. And then the husband has an accident because he's a roofer and he falls off a roof. His wife refuses to take him to the hospital. She wants to take care of him herself, and she coddles him and keeps him at home in bed longer than he should. He should get up and go to work, but she keeps him in bed for a few extra months just to make sure that he's really recovered and ready to get back up on the roof. And in that time, he just loses his will to work. He becomes lazy, and he really doesn't go back to work and starts drinking in the cafes with his buddies. And she also starts drinking. It's really a very complicated novel, but good. One of the best parts of the novel is that the main character is this Gervaise. She's the principal character. She marries this husband. He's a bit of a dummy, but he's good-hearted in the beginning. And she meets his sister, who's married. And his sister and her husband, his brother-in-law, are the two most horrible characters you'll meet in literature. They're just so awful. It is a great novel. It's just that the ending, it goes down, and oh, please, won't it end soon? Really, won't it end? It's just such a downer that it didn't get higher on the list. Number 4. All right, The Posthumous Memoirs of Bras Cubas by Machado de Assis. Strange, excellent novel. I made a big review about that one. I wanted this video to be short, and I'm ending up blathering away as I usually do. God, I should just have a big sign that says no blather. I made a review of it. If you want to watch it or you don't want to watch it, it's up to you. There's the link. It's the first time I read it. Like most great literature, you've got to read it twice to really get the real what's in there. I find the first reading to be rather superficial of any book. I want to know the story. I want to know the characters. I want to know the conflict. The second reading, you know all that. That's already up here. Story, characters, conflict, that's already fixed. So now you could look a lot more carefully at the conversations, or you could read a little bit more carefully. What's happening here in this dialogue? What's happening here in these descriptive passages? Some people have made some comments. They think the book's overrated. I don't know. I mean, I didn't hear about this book until just a couple of years ago, and it's been like one of Brazil's most popular novels, like for the last 50 years at least, if not 100 years. In terms of great world literature, I mean, it certainly flew under my radar for a long time, so it's hard to say that it's overrated. It's a great book, and I think you can see a lot of things in it. I was kind of obsessed with the fact that this character never does anything with his life. Like, he's got money, he's got wealth, and he just kind of squanders every opportunity he has. That's what I liked about the book. Number 3, top 3, here we go. The Book of Ebenezer LePage by G.B. Edwards. Wow, that's a wild book. And that is a book that nobody's ever going to say is overrated, because I've been seriously applying myself to reading great literature for over 30 years now. This is a book you could live your whole life loving literature, really trying to read all the great stuff, and you just might never have heard of it. But it is absolutely brilliant. I love the Book of Ebenezer LePage. Holy God, is it good. It's about this one man who lives on the island of Guernsey, one of the Channel Islands, which eventually I got into Google to find out where this island was. And it's really close to France and not close to England, even though it's an English island. And this book is his reflections on his life. And it is amazing, funny, sad. Oh man, yes, sad. And then all of a sudden, Germany takes France. They capture these two little islands. Apparently, it was quite important for Hitler to keep these islands, because getting Guernsey and Jersey, in a way, was like occupying a piece of Britain. That's what his goal was, to capture Britain. And then how are the Irish going to feel for sitting out the war? I don't know. And so capturing this island was like getting that first step of capturing the whole of Great Britain. Fantastic book. Absolutely loved it. How come it's only number 3, Grant? Because number 1 and number 2 are the all-time greats. Which one is number 2 and which one is number 1? Yeah, I guess so. I guess we can say that. Number 2, Winesburg, Ohio by Sherwood Anderson. Perfect literature. I think the greatest writing of any author. Just captures it with every single sentence. There is nothing as perfectly written as Winesburg, Ohio. For me, as someone who has aspirations to be a writer, I have to bow down in complete obeisance. That is perfect writing. If you can write like that, it is such a masterly achievement to be able to write those words as simply and as precisely as Sherwood Anderson. Is that all it is, Grant? Great writing? No, the story is fantastic. It's actually not a story. It's a book of short stories. It's set in this small community, Winesburg, Ohio, and there's one central character who runs around. He's a journalist for like the small weekly newspaper, and so he runs around trying to get stories to fill the newspaper, and he knows everyone. These are the stories of these people in this small town. Just blow you away. Way better than Hemingway. Way better. There's not a book by Hemingway that is better than Sherwood Anderson. Better than Winesburg, Ohio. The Sun Also Rises is not as good. For Whom the Bell Tolls, I don't really like that book. The dialogue between this man and this woman, he keeps calling her, oh, little rabbit, little rabbit. It's annoying. There's the other one, Farewell to Arms. Farewell to Arms, yeah, that's really quite great. I would pick Winesburg, Ohio over everything that Hemingway ever wrote. How about that for a grand sweeping statement? Look at this wonderful thing that I'm wearing. Number 1, The Bridge of San Luis Rey by Thurton Wilder. Here's a video. Watch that video. I can't say enough about The Bridge of San Luis Rey. Is it better than Winesburg, Ohio? Yes, it is. Amazingly, it is. The Bridge of San Luis Rey is the greatest novel ever written. Simply magical that I think it's only 90 or 100 pages, and the stories that are told in that brief space will just blow your mind right open. If there is a book that you might decide that you want to read every single year for the rest of your life, that would be the book. Nearly transcends literature. It's bigger than literature. It's not just a story. It's not just characters. It's about love. I'm not being sarcastic or ironic. The Bridge of San Luis Rey is about love. And it's not 600 pages. It's not 300 pages. It's 100 slim pages. And it's the greatest thing ever written. So there you go. There's my list. Almost all of these books I made reviews of, except for the bottom ones on the list. I didn't do The Tale of Genji. I didn't do Remembering Babylon. Did I do the Book of Eve? Yeah, I even made a review of the Book of Eve. So just the 2 bottom ones, I didn't do any reviews, but all of the rest of the books on the list I made reviews of. So you could check them out where I go into them a lot. And I'll just end the video here because, it's a wrap-up. It was a great year. Those 12 books, that was an amazing list for me. And I really recommend that you do the same thing. Go to your bookshelf, pick whatever you're comfortable with, 10, 12, 5. Pick 5 books and say, I will read these 5 books this year. Do it! Don't let yourself down. Read those 5 books. Make the effort. Find the time. You have the time. Put the goddamn telephone down and stop playing the stupid games on the phone or sending messages to people back and forth. Find the time to read the books. Make the time, all right? Promise yourself, I will read these books this year. God help me. And see how happy you are at the end of the year when you can say, yeah, I'm proud of myself. I read this stuff. I have opinions about it. I would like to share them with people on my wonderful YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe. This is Grant Loves Books. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. Take care. Hello.